somebody that has white skin color in this audience has extra privileges that you as a black individual do not have. Can you list what those are?
Sure. When FDR employed the New Deal to counteract the Great Depression, this came with resources that was allowed it to white people. Banks denied 99% of qualified black applicants while also accepting 99% of white applicants.
But today in 2025.
Okay, today in 2025, as I alluded to you, they've done studies in psychology where white-sounding names receive jobs or callbacks more than black-sounding names. They did the two names. It was a white young lady named...
Hey, that's facts, cause I got a white name and I get all type of calls backs. On photo. No, let me stop playing.
Anna Scott, and it was a black young lady named Lakeisha Washington. They both put in 80 job applications. Lakeisha Washington received 9 callbacks and received 75 callbacks.
So that's a good point. I actually, that study is debated, but let's pretend it's true. Do you think it's racism or something else?
I think that answer is multifaceted.
It's a little prejudice.
Let me make the...
I feel like the right word is a little prejudice. It's a little prejudice. It's like you let your opinion, because what if LaQuisha was a white lady? What if my sister's name was LaQuisha? LaQuisha right here.
If we live under a status of DEI and people are getting jobs that they're not qualified for, wouldn't an applicant then assume maybe that an applicant might be there based on DEI, not on merit? It actually creates more...
Hold on, what do you say?
If we live under a status of DEI and people are getting jobs that they're not qualified for, wouldn't an applicant then assume maybe that an applicant might be there based on DEI, not on merit? It actually creates more racism where it doesn't exist.
So DEI is not about going and grabbing some random person of color and saying you therefore qualified. DEI is about considering other qualified applicants.
Well, let's take airline pilots. United Airlines wants 40% all of their airline pilots to be women or people of color. Why does that matter? Number one, because I want a qualified airline pilot, not a person of color airline pilot.
Understood.
So you agree. But number two, there's only so many airline pilots jobs.
He ain't say he agreed. He said he understood.
Does that matter? Number one, because I want a qualified airline pilot, not a person of color airline pilot.
All right, hold on. Let me hear what you're trying to say.
40% all of their airline pilots to be women or people of color.
They prefer to be women or color, 40%, right?
Why does that matter?
Why does that matter?
Number one, because I want a qualified airline pilot, not a person of color airline pilot.
Okay.
Understood.
So you agree?
No, we don't agree. We just hearing you. We just hearing you.
But number two, there's only so many airline pilots jobs. So when you say we want 40%, by definition, then you have to discriminate against a certain group to get another group to advance, right?
No. All right, so this what you messed up at. All right, so the notion that people want 40% airline pilots to be black or women is because in the past years, in the past generation, those same groups were being declined jobs because of white males. So now, instead of just automatically giving it to the white male who might be underqualified, you see what I'm saying? He might make a mistake that this person over here, this black person or this woman might not make. You see what I'm saying? But because he was a white man, he gave him the job. That's why they put that rule up. Not because, we just want... If that was the case, they'd go on the street and pick up random black people and random women to go do a job. Now, if that was the case, I understand what you're saying. But at the end of the day, if you're applying for this job, you're most likely qualified. So let's go off the notion that everybody who's applying for this job is qualified. So I don't see what his point is right there. Because if we look from the past to right now, it makes sense on why they make that.
Understood.
Because there's not unlimited amounts of spots for airline pilots or air traffic control or surgeons or whatever position. So when you say that we want to have a quota, that then you have to say we're not going to prioritize a certain group. Let me tell you what I believe, and maybe you might actually agree with this. I think you do. What we believe as conservatives is that skin color really doesn't matter that much. We care about character and merit. We want a country built on what you bring to the table, not how you look.
Exactly. And America started out with that based on merit, and theoretically, it was supposed to work. In practice, it did not, which is why you have these different programs, affirmative action, DEI, and civil rights act.
Affirmative action, that's what it is. Affirmative action.
Well,
because they were not working. You cannot ignore that. these policies were created to counteract racism. A counteract to racism is not racism in itself.
Well, I reject the premise, and I will say this. If you do something racist on top of something racist, that doesn't make the second racist action good. Because if you discriminate against white people to say that we're fighting racism, then that's not a good idea. But instead, I think you can agree that when we...
What's up? You said what? No, I'm streaming right now, son. You said what?
Oh, she said
hold on.
someone was knocking at your door.
Hold on.
build a society like college admissions or job applications, we should say no quotas and just merit. You agree?
I agree.
Then you're against DEI, because DEI says quotas.
Yeah, let me finish. I agree to a certain extent. So when you mention about discriminating against whites, of course, I don't agree with that.
Well, that is DEI, just so we're clear.
Right, and I'm going to say it again.
Cool, all right.
DEI was created to offset racism. We left it up to majority of white America to include people of color with qualifying credentials. They would not. So if my argument is that you're saying it's reverse racism, my argument is that it needed to be there to counteract racism. Sounds like we need to find a different solution for both parties.
I have a great solution. Stop talking about race all the time. Race doesn't mean anything. Because I look at you not as a black guy, but as a human being made in the image of God, and I want to know what you bring to the table. Are you good at the job? Are you better than your competitor? Because let me just pause for a second. I just want you to hear out what we believe. Is that when you talk about race all the time, you start to resegregate society based on tribes, and you lose this idea of e pluribus unum, all made in the image of God, out of many one. And yes, we have made many mistakes in our past, but we were getting closer as a country in my childhood as being not obsessed with race. We've become more race obsessed over the last 10 years, especially the last 5 years, which is why we're seeing the anti-DEI movement, which actually ends up hurting people of color more than previously. And I guess the biggest question, though, is that why should race matter at all? Shouldn't we just de-emphasize it?
What I wanted to first respond to is the notion of stop talking about race. I don't agree with that notion for the simple fact that talking about things bring awareness. Awareness leads to actions. Actions produce change results. I just want to use your logic and flip it on you. Imagine you had cancer and your doctor was like, let's just stop talking about it. It would, in the same context that racism wouldn't go away, cancer wouldn't go away.
Let's accept that premise. Do you think racism is the top 100 problem in America?
I think it is, I haven't considered the other 99 to give a
crime, fathers not being around, obesity, suicide, mental health issues,
for sure,
anxiety, cost of college, an open border, Russian-Ukrainian war, nuclear proliferation.
All right, so what's worse? What's worse, the cost of college or systemic racism? Hold on, because if I go to college and I can't get a job because of my name, I feel like that's worse. If I just paid for college, but I can't get a job because y'all feel like I'm a black person when y'all read this application, I feel like that's worse on bro grade.
No, like as if a white person had a felony, they get hired, but a black person with a felony can't get hired.
You see what I'm saying?
That's fucked up.
Like.
But yet he's still judging from a black person to a white person.
And you're not talking about them problems. You're trying to talk about everything else.
He's not understanding where this dude is coming from. He's trying to go against to what this man is talking about.
He basically trying to say racism don't exist.
Exactly, but it still does in 2025.
Like, it's a lot of people that don't accept black people, and there's still some that want to live by the old ways. That's a fact. Just like there's some people that don't like Mexican people, or some people that don't like Indian people. Everybody got their own little niche, bro. And America was built on slavery, on farm grade. And we done turned the leaf 500-600 years later. But the thing about it, though, basically what I feel like he trying to say is black folks still get treated bad and women still deserve more rights on farm grade. Which I can understand why he want to bring awareness to that. But I kind of see what Kirk saying with 2024. A lot of the ways that the life we was living 30, 40 years ago is different. So he is right about that. But awareness still needs to be made because the George Floyd situation, there was just a young lady who was stabbed up on the trail, on the bus, by a black man, folks. So it's a lot of shit that still needs to be solved, folks. And violence is one thing, but racism is another thing. And mental health, I do believe mental health is a fucked up thing because I think dude was crazy as hell. He was crazy. He was retarded. They say Shorty was retarded. He shouldn't have been on that train anyway.
Artificial intelligence, the rise of China, like all that's probably more important than racism. So
I'm not saying it is or isn't.
But however,
You're
right, I'm not. But to use your premise, if I have cancer, that's the most important thing happening to me.
Correct.
Racism is not a cancer on America. Racism is sin, and we'll never get rid of sin because we are broken, fallen creatures from our Creator, and we rebel.
Right,
So
but you do not solve issues by not discussing them. If you and your wife I'm not sure if you're married, if you and your wife have a disagreement with communication, and you tell her, like, hey, let's just stop talking about our problems. So problems do not disappear.
I actually don't think it's an issue nearly as much as you do. I think we've made it a bigger issue.
I'm not making it a bigger issue. I'm just discussing. This is just my take. And you tell her, like, hey, let's just stop talking about our problems. So problems do not disappear.
I actually don't think it's an issue nearly as much as you do. I think we've made it a bigger issue.
I'm not making it a bigger issue.
So
I'm just
obviously
discussing.
he's saying in his family he don't have them problems, but if he has them problems,
It don't matter.
it don't matter.
Basically,
That's fucked up.
like you never.
Like, just because you and your wife don't have problems don't mean him and his don't have a problem. But since y'all don't have a problem, it don't matter to you. But if it was him and his wife having a problem, he wouldn't care.
And then like he would never understand that either.
If it was a white person stating that, then he wouldn't have said that.
He would have been trying to make a point towards him.
Exactly. Like there's so many things between this man and a white folk and a black person. Like he talks to them all type of different ways. Like after hearing this, if you play the white person, you could see the difference in that shit. That shit is it's bad.
Oh, I got another video after this too.
No, I'm saying generally.
I'm finna
but
find
let's
another
just
one.
say,
I'm finna find
and
one
then I
more.
do want to get your definition though. What is racism?
Racism is a form of feeling of superiority. It is expressed through discrimination and through the legal system.
Oh, fair enough. So we agree that's wrong and it's terrible. So we should get rid of practices that actively discriminate against anybody based on
Boy,
race.
why did you shake
Can
my
you be
computer?
racist against white people?
Can I? Or
Yes.
black people?
No, can a black person like yourself be racist against a white person?
Absolutely.
Okay, good. We agree, and you should be applauded for that because some people on the left think you can't be racist against white people.
So
Some,
just,
not all.
just to speak for black people,
That's quite a statement, but sure.
well, let me speak for the majority who are of my opinion. So when blacks who let's say have disdain for whites, it is not based in racism. It is based in cause and effect. It is normal for anybody to hate a suppressor. It is normal for anybody to hate It is normal for anybody to hate their murderers. America went to war with the British Empire for being suppressed and oppressed. So my concluding point is that a lot of the hate that can be perceived from blacks as white is hating oppression, not white people. Because if you substitute our oppression for a Mexican, if a Mexican oppresses us, we therefore hate him as well. If a black man oppresses us, we therefore hate oppression.
I think that's a fair point. Let me ask one final question, if that's okay. If you had to decide which is a bigger problem facing black America, racism or a lack of fathers raising black kids, which is a bigger problem?
Well, which one started which one? That's my which one started which one? Was it the white people being racist towards the black folks that started the broken homes, and then all of the times where y'all put people in slavery, and then after slavery black folks couldn't get a job. All right, after that y'all moved them into projects where they was living like shit, and then y'all get put drugs inside the communities, and then now the fathers are in jail and shit now. But you don't want to speak about that on funnel grade. You don't want to speak about that at all. You see what I'm saying? Like the lack of a father came from the oppression that we felt from the white people. And the oppression came from the slavery, which came from the racism that was brought upon us on funnel grade. But there is something to say, because there was some people selling African bodies to America though. Like there were people selling African bodies to America though. The only thing was they came unwillingly. That's the only thing I can say. They came unwillingly. Like nobody was willing to come to America. And then there was states in America that abolished slavery, and then there was other states that still had slavery going on. Like the North didn't have slavery, the South had slavery. And then like in 1890, 1880, 1870, that's when they fully abolished slavery. But there was still the Jim Crow laws. We still went through the Jim Crow laws. So you gotta think, this is damn near 600, 700 years of oppression towards black people in America, for you to say that what is the bigger problem, racism or not having a father? Not having a father came from the systemic racism that we faced over years. So I don't feel like that's valid. I do feel like that's a little prejudice, and I don't think he thought about that before he said that. You feel me? Like, what'd you say?
I said white men do the same shit. Like he can't say it's just only black men that leave their family. Most white men started that shit.
Like, it's just fucked up.
Well,
Got
we
it.
hate oppression.
I think that's a fair point. Let me ask one final question, if that's okay. If you had to decide which is a bigger problem facing Black America, racism or a lack of fathers raising black kids, which is a bigger problem?
I would say what impact?
Y'all got this weak ass nigga up here. How you freeze up? How you freeze up? For you had to stand, you had everything for you. Where your heart at? For you gotta speak. You got to, bro. You got
So
to.
repeat the question.
If you had to decide in a binary choice, which is a bigger problem facing Black America, racism or a lack of fathers raising black youth?
I think it's a combination of both, but for sure we'll say black because blackness affects blacks more than you ever affected me in my life.
I'm sorry, so you said you would say racism or the black fathers?
Fathers.
I agree. So now
Oh my goodness, what a dork. What a dweeb, folks. You just made me so mad saying that, folks. You such a goofy. Such a goofy. Such a goofy.
And then the white man agree.
Like, bro, why would you agree with this man, folks? First of all, why would you agree with this nigga, bro? Why would you agree with him? Why would you agree with him? Why wouldn't you say the systemic racism, folks? You feel me? Like, I just broke it down for you. The racism led to the lack of fathers in the household, and the lack of fathers in the household led to generations of violence. Why would you agree with that man knowing you could have broke it down for him right there? Some shit he don't understand, you could have helped him understand. You just missed out on a powerful teaching moment for being a jelly worm, a gummy fish, folks. For having a gummy back, folks. You don't got no spine, it's just a gummy worm right there, folks.
Nigga,
Like,
what?
he ain't got no spine, folks. Like, how the fuck you just
Now we
fold
agree.
like that, folks?
Do you agree that the
Niggas
last
don't fold
5
like
years
that.
we've
His
talked
ass.
more about racism and way
Folded.
less about dads staying around with the women they impregnate? Would you agree that's probably a problem?
I agree that's a problem amongst all races. When you say we, who is we?
Well, as a society, but it's especially a problem in Black America. If you had to guess, I know this is like Trivial Pursuit, but approximate, what percentage of black youth have a stable father around?
I wouldn't know those numbers. Sir.
It's about 30%. So that means that 2 out of 3 black kids do not have a dad around.
I would have to fact check that for myself.
That's fine. You can look it up. You guys can look it up on Grok or ChatGPT or Perplexity or the AI of your choice, right? And so here's
Alright, so let me see this right here. Let me search something up. Let me search this up. What was the fact?
to society, but it's especially a problem in Black America, being around with the women they impregnate. Would you agree that's probably a problem?
I agree that's a problem amongst all races. When you say we, who is we?
Well, as a society, but it's especially a problem in Black America. If you had to guess, I know this is like Trivial Pursuit, but approximate, what percentage of black youth have a stable father around?
What percentage of black youth?
Let me go to Google first.
Have a stable father around.
According to CDC, 58% of black fathers live with one or more of their children, and even a larger majority of 72% of black fathers talk with their children about things that happen during the day. Alright, so it is, I'm finna...
Now type in white fathers and see what it says.
White. 70% of children 18 and older live with 2 parents. 23% with their mother only, 3% with their father only, and 4% with no parent. So there's only 3% of white children that live with their father, and then 70% of children live with two parents. I ain't gonna lie, that's a good ass percentage, folks. That's a good ass percentage. Alright, I'm finna take this to ChatGPT. ChatGPT. Searching the web. It depends on how you define stable father around. Living in the same household, regularly involved, or married. And which population you mean black children in the U.S. or elsewhere. I can give you U.S. statistics roughly approximating the situation. Okay. In the U.S., among children under 18, black children are much less likely than white or Asian children to live with married parents. About 33% of black children live with married biological parents. In 2016, 56% of black children live with a female parent and no spouse present. So 56% of black kids live with a single mom, and recent census data, 38% of African American minors under the age of 18 live with both parents. So he wasn't wrong. So he was right about that. 2 out of every 3. That's about 30. That's about 5% over 33.
At the bottom right there, where it says the percentage of black youth is somewhere around 30 to 40%.
Oh no, he said he was wrong. That's live with both parents.
Yep.
What's the name? So about 44% of black kids live with their dad. About 44%. That's 2 out of 5. That's about 2 out of 5. You feel me? He said 2 out of 3 kids don't have a dad in the house. That's 66% of kids without a dad. And he right about that, folks. On my granny, he right about that. 56 on full grade. If you do, where is that?
That's what I use. I use that for school.
With no spouse parent. Yeah, 44% on full grade. So if by staying around father, the percentage of black youth is somewhere between 30 and 40%. If by stable father around, you mean just present, the number will be higher. Alright, so basically what ChatGPT saying is about 30 to 40% of kids have a father that lives in the house, and about 40 to 60% have a father that's around and talks to him and does stuff with him on phone grade, or talks to him and provides for him. You know what I'm saying? He said 60% of kids live without their father, and that's right here. It's really only 56, but he said 66. He 10% off on my granny. And then let's search it up for white kids. For white youth. Let's search it up for the white youth. 78%. And this one was 33%. So 33% of black kids live with both parents or married parents, and 75% of white kids live with 2 parents. They didn't say anything about married. 2015, 78% of white children live with 2 parents, including married or 2-parent households. Now up here, they said biological. Up here they said biological, and down here they said nothing about biological. So now we getting 2 different stats. Because what if the mother is married to another guy?
Or if a kid got adopted and
Yeah.
they don't have their biological parent.
You see what I'm saying?
It's
So like,
mainly whites.
so yeah, these is a little bit flawed, because I know a lot of children who are raised with a stepfather, with a stepfather. It's most white children live with 2 parents in most recent analysis. On photo grade, including a they didn't say biological. That's like a lot of them have stepfathers. That's why I wanna point out 78% live including or 2-parent. See, they say including married or 2-parent household. They didn't say that for the black kids up here.
They put that in parentheses.
Yeah, they didn't put biological. So like some of these numbers a little bit skewed, but they also right there for
I wouldn't know those numbers. Sir.
It's about 30%. So that means in Black America, if you had to guess, I know this is like Trivial Pursuit, but approximate, what percentage of Black youth have a stable father around?
I wouldn't know those numbers. Sir.
It's about 30%.
He said 30. If we look right here, it says 38% of African Americans live with both parents. 33% live with just their mom, and then if you do some simple math, you will get 44% of Black children live with their father only. About 44% live with their father only. About 44, and it might not be 44 because some of them might be inside like youth centers or and
So that
you
means
know what I'm
that
saying,
2
stuff
out
like
of 3
that.
Black kids do not have a dad around.
I would have to fact check that for myself.
That's fine. You can look it up. You guys can look it up on Grok.
But no, that's not right though. That's not right. That's not right.
Hey.
He says about 2 out of every 3 is really. Did that make it worse? 2 out of 3 is 66, but one is every other. Is really every other. It's not 2 out of every 3. It might sound the same or it might sound a little worse when you say 1 out of every other Black kid, but it's every other Black kid. Every other Black kid, not 2 out of every 3. It's every other Black kid for sure.
For ChatGPT or Perplexity or the AI of your choice, right? And so here's our perspective as conservatives, because this is a colorblind truth. See, as conservatives, we apply things that are true to all human beings regardless of their skin color. That if you don't have a dad around, you're more likely to commit crimes, go to jail, more likely to basically be on the outer fringe of society. When 2 out of 3 Black youth don't have dads around, that's a big, big problem. And it creates a cycle of violence and poverty. That's not racism, that's culture. And the cultural problems happening in Black America, the white people are not doing that to Black people.
All right, so where did the culture problems come from then? That's all. Where did the culture problems come from? Did we have equal opportunity since America was born? How long have Black people have equal opportunity is my question. See, the thing about what Kirk doing is he trying to hold Black people accountable, ignoring the history that they had to go through just to get to this point right here. Ignoring everything that we have to go through just to get to this point. You ignore all of that. You talking about right now, right here today. Right now, right here today, there's been a lot of growth and progress from all parties. From white, from Black, from Asian, African, German, what's the name, Jewish. There's been a lot of growth from all races. The thing about it though, you still can't ignore how we ended up in this situation. Like, that's what I want you to answer. That's what you need to be telling this nigga. That's what you should be saying. That's what you should be saying right now. How did we end up there? Or you should be explaining to him how our culture ended up right here. Because as a culture, we growing, we getting better. The numbers are getting better every year. So year on year, the numbers is getting better. The households is getting better. You feel me? The parents might not be together, but the parents it's a better system. Going to their mom, going to their dad. It's a better system nowadays in 2025. It's getting better for the culture. That's what you need to be explaining, folks. You got him talking crazy, gang. You got him talking crazy, folks.
The sources of poverty, when I spoke of...
That's not racism, that's culture. And the cultural problems happening in Black America, the white people are not doing that to Black people.
Look at the sources of poverty? When I spoke about redlining, that was literally whites forcing Blacks into ghettos because they would not give us houses.
No one's
Jim
going to
Crow.
defend that.
Ignore that.
No one's going to defend that. But
you cannot ignore who created
No, all right, what about Jim Crow?
who created the ghettos?
Let me ask a simple
It's
question.
disingenuous.
Well, hold on. Just because you're poor doesn't mean you have to leave the woman you impregnate.
Correct.
That does not